What message do you hope viewers take away from Artfully United?
Be inspired by people who are doing positive things. Understand that even those who come from very difficult circumstances, with hard work, with faith, with responsibility, that there is opportunity to rise above where you start. We live in times where there's a lot of strife, there's a lot of division, and there's unfortunately a lot of conflict. We need to do everything we can to be instruments of peace.
Hello, Chris. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Good, Elisha. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you.
Beautiful, and thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. And you see, Chris, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my answer. So firstly, Chris, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invested in yourself. And oftentimes, my man, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, Chris, some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Chris, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I used the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, my man, just recently I was on that same road, and this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. You see, the mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance, and immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches. And not just mangoes now, Chris, I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day, and I was so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Chris that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show, because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing, your philosophies, your journey, the impact your work is having, and how you are offering your solutions. The stuff are beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, my man, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Chris is doing. And not only me now, because I don't want to be selfish, and even with the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Chris. So thank you so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much, my man.
Thank you for your kind words, Elisha, and I admire the good work that you're doing also. It was really exciting to get your invitation, and I appreciate all of the positive work that you're doing and your efforts to amplify and shine light on positive work and positive stories from around the world. I really appreciate you having me here. I'm in the great state of Maine today, and I understand that you're from Nigeria. Are you broadcasting your show from Nigeria, is my question.
Yeah, that's right. And thank you once again for
It's
being
really
here.
an
Yeah,
honor to
man.
be here, Elisha. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. So let's get started, Chris. You see, I am quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Chris, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge alone, but the application of it. And you see, my man, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness, ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the incredible Chris on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, my man, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of informations flying out there. So those folks trust me for quality, opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Chris, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So, for that reason, my man, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey. Because right now, we are so curious. We want to know how Chris got here. Then, afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Chris, my man, over to you.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction, Elisha. My name is Chris Walters. I'm a filmmaker, a producer, a writer, an actor here in the great state of Maine, and I'm also the vice chairman of the Maine State Film Commission. So I try to encourage other filmmakers to do business and to create art here in Maine, and I try to help the folks from Maine who are pursuing their creative endeavors, particularly with film, around the country and around the world. I'm also a father of 3 beautiful girls. I'm a husband to my beautiful wife, Tricia, and I'm a member of Faith Christian Church in Gardner, Maine, where I also serve and volunteer on our food pantry once a month. I am the president of the board of directors of the Kennebec Valley Humane Society, where I've been on the board for 10 years, where we help animals in our community and we try to promote animal welfare in our state. So I've been making a documentary for the last 10 years called Artfully United, which is about a wonderful artist and activist in Los Angeles named Mike Norice. He's doing a mural tour around Los Angeles in some very distressed areas that have high rates of crime, violence, and poverty. And Mike has put inspiring messages on walls that say things like love, peace, forgiveness, and hope. We premiered that film in the last year at the Cannes Film Festival in France as part of their out of competition programming. And then we made our public debut at the Greenpoint Film Festival in Brooklyn, New York, as well as the Vacationland Film Festival in Biddeford, Maine, the Fayetteville Film Festival in Arkansas. And we were proud to premiere it in theaters in Los Angeles a few weeks ago. I just got back from California after being out there for 10 days, attending premieres and promoting the release of the film, which will be available on video on demand platforms such as Amazon, Apple, YouTube, and others in January. So it's a pleasure to be here with you today to talk about both the film, but also about who I am and the things that I do.
And that's so beautiful, my man. And I love how you are helping folks in that aspect of life, and that's very important. So I'm just a bit curious, okay? So how did that first meeting between you and Mike Norice happen?
I was out in California back in the beginning of 2013. I had written a movie and produced it and acted in it called SRQ State of Mind back in 2011 that was released in 2017. So this was after we had completed filming, but we were still in post-production. I had written some other films in which I had appeared, but was out there for some meetings, and I wound up going into Mike's store that he had at the time called BYN Customs on Melrose Avenue in Hollywood. And Mike is also a clothing designer, but he's a brilliant artist. And at the time, he was selling custom sneakers, custom clothes, as well as his artwork in this store. I went in and met Mike and ordered some custom shoes, and became his customer. As time went on, I became a better customer and we stayed in touch. He was generous and gracious enough to invite me out to some of his events in California. And then I started inviting him to Maine to do some murals on the walls at my house. We became better and better friends. Mike was already a part of the California Ceasefire Committee that works to stop gang violence as well as bring peace to Los Angeles and those areas. And Mike had the plan to do a mural tour of messages that would be inspiring in these distressed areas. I was fortunate to be able to start the documentary about not only his Artfully United tour, but also about his life in 2016. We spent the better part of 10 years working on this, and now we're very proud of the finished product. I hope that you either have had a chance to see the film, Elisha, or that you'll be able to see it soon. I'll be sure to facilitate that if you haven't.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it, my man. I can't wait, man. And that's a beautiful one. I love how you built a relationship with him and how you maintained it. That's a fantastic one, my man. So let us get personal a bit, all right? So how did your diverse background shape the way you tell stories?
Well, I was impacted by Mike's story that is different from my own. On the surface, we're quite different. He's a black man. I'm a white man. He lives in Los Angeles. I live over here on the East Coast in Maine. He's a brilliant, brilliant artist. I would have a hard time even drawing a picture of a horse or a cow that looks like a horse or a cow. So I'd like to think that I have a good eye for art and I have a heart for his activism. But both of us are fathers, both of us are men of faith. And I was inspired to tell his story and keep myself out of the way. As I said, I'm an actor, but in this film, the camera is on Mike and his work and his family. And I pop up in cameos in the background a couple of times, but this was a project that was not about promoting myself or indulging any of my own creative aspects as a writer. It was really about showcasing Mike, his art, his activism, and his amazing family story.
And that's so beautiful. We rise by lifting others. Okay, so how has Mike's story impacted your own outlook on life and art?
Mike's activism has touched my heart because it's an example along those same lines of his mural tour doesn't showcase his brilliant artistic ability. It's focused on the black letters on white walls that say forgiveness or keep smiling or social justice or honor or harmony. It does have his little cartoon character, Powerful Paul, in each of the murals, but the messages belie his tremendous talent. If he wanted to, he could be doing beautiful portraits and beautiful, colorful murals. It's not about him and glorifying him as an artist. It's about getting the message out to the communities. So I was inspired to do the same thing. I like to write, I like to act, but this was a more important process and a more important project to me because of its impact on others.
Because of its impact on others. Wow, that's a beautiful one, and I got that. So you used the word community while you were talking earlier. So what role does community play in this documentary?
Community plays a tremendous part in this documentary because Mike needed to have the buy-in of the community to do each of these walls. It wasn't as simple as him just getting permission from a building owner. It wasn't as simple as him going to the city and seeing if this is an appropriate place to have these murals. Mike also works with gangs in the area so that they understand that what he's doing is not meant to be divisive. What he's doing is actually showing that even the murals that are in different areas that might have different groups of people and even gangs have these same characters. And Mike's mission is unity of communities and it's encouragement of those communities. Mike has received testimonies from people who said they were suicidal, or they were thinking about harming somebody else, or they were struggling to forgive others or themselves, and that they saw these murals and it gave them pause for thought to forgive themselves. And in some cases, even people who were suicidal who told Mike that that intervention on the wall was what the catalyst was for them trying to heal. So Mike is trying to heal communities, and Mike is from that community. Mike is from those communities out there. He's from Watts, and even the ones that are in different cities, whether it's Compton or Inglewood or South Central Los Angeles, are affected by his messages, and he looks to bring them together and uplift all communities.
What a great guy Mike is. Beautiful. So, how long did it take you to bring this documentary to life, and what was the biggest challenges you faced while, coupling all of this together?
Well, it's taken the better part of 10 years. I hired a wonderful man, Dave Benner, who also acted in some of my films. He's been a collaborator and producer on some other films with me. But I hired Dave in 2016 to go with me out to Los Angeles to document all of this. And the biggest challenge was probably deciding what a good time was to stop. Mike is doing 20 of these murals, and he's now already done 14 of them. It was tempting to wait until the end of the 20 murals to say that we're done filming, but we had captured a lot of wonderful footage that we wanted to include, and some of it unfortunately wound up on the cutting room floor, and the movie would have been 10 hours long if we tried to include everything. So as it is, it's a feature film that's an hour and a half long, and I brought on board some wonderful folks that I met here in Maine of a production company called Fifen, and it was a lady, Molly Connors, who's on the Film Commission with me, and her partners Amanda Bowers and Alex Spat with Fifen, that came on board in pre-production to advise me on some editorial changes. We changed some of the structure of the film, which Dave and I had edited together. And then they also have a wonderful post-production facility in New Jersey where we were able to clean up the sound. We were able to adjust the color and the images on screen. And they've been my partners also in post-production, distribution, and advising on the best outcome for this film.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that's a lot of effort. And I'm glad it came out beautiful. Okay. So we've got 2 more to go, my man. All right. So what message do you hope viewers take away from Artfully United?
Be inspired by people who are doing positive things. Understand that even those who come from very difficult circumstances, with hard work, with faith, with responsibility, that there is opportunity to rise above where you start. And I want folks to be inspired by the positive aspect of what we're doing. We live in times where there's a lot of strife, there's a lot of division, and there's unfortunately a lot of conflict. We need to do everything we can to be instruments of peace. And to your point, Elisha, we want to be a candle in the darkness.
You want to be a candle in the darkness, I tell you, because we're filled with so much darkness in this world. And getting to see people like you do this amazing stuff. And filming and producing movies like this is one of the greatest effective way to pass the message. And I love the fact that you want to be a candle in the darkness. That's a beautiful one. So seeing how experienced you are and how long you've been doing this wonderful work for, how has the journey been so far? Can you talk to us about that?
Can you repeat that, Elisha? I'm sorry, you cut out for just a moment.
Okay, no worries. I said, seeing how long you've been doing this wonderful work for and how experienced you are, how has the journey been so far?
The journey has been wonderful. And I hope that we can also set an example for not only working together positively, peacefully, and productively with others like ourselves, but with others who are different. Mike and I have actually a lot in common, as well as Dave, our director, as all being people of faith. We all happen to be Christians, but it really has been an honor at times to work with folks that are not. That first film that I wrote and produced, SRQ State of Mind, had a wonderful director named Faru. Faru is a Muslim from Uzbekistan who had a very different upbringing and background from me. Wonderful, nice person. And then the next person that directed some films for me, gentleman named Evan Spazzato, who also advised us on this. Evan happens to be an atheist. I also have several people involved who are Jewish. It's been wonderful to work positively, peacefully, and productively with people of other faiths. And I think that is the roadmap forward, not only for us, not only in capacities of art, but also in the geopolitical context. We need to be able to get along with others, understanding that we have very different beliefs, we have different values, and we have different elements of faith. But it's our job, I believe, to set the example, to coexist peacefully, and to work as productively as we can on those areas in which we have common ground, in this case with art and activism.
Beautiful, and that's a great one. That's very, very important. We've got this unity even among some certain Christians. So during this amazing project with folks of different beliefs, that's a fantastic one, my man, and I love that. I love that. So to bring this to an end, Chris, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who like to reach out to you, learn more about the wonderful stuff you're doing, or watch the amazing film. How can that be possible?
I encourage folks to find out more about Mike Norice's art and activism. His last name is spelled Norice. Our social media handle we've been using for this film is Artfully United Doc, DOC, and I'm under Chris Walters Productions on Instagram and elsewhere. The film will be released in January on those digital platforms, and we're very excited to share that with folks around the world.
Beautiful, my man. So, any final thought?
I'd like to thank you for everything you're doing, Elisha. I got on and added you on Facebook and had a chance to watch a few of the clips, and I'm so encouraged by the good work that you're doing. I know that Nigeria is an amazing place. There's more Nigerian immigrants, Nigerian college students in America receiving doctorates and PhDs than I think from almost anywhere. And I know that there's wonderful Christian churches in Nigeria, but there has also been lots of conflict in that country. And
So
all of
true.
us need to continue. Yes, all of us need to be aware of the challenges that Nigerians face, that other Africans face, and see what we can do as Americans and otherwise to be involved and to be instruments of peace and support.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so very much for sharing that. And I truly appreciate your Chris. So that's going to be the end of the show, my man. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this wonderful stuff with us. It means a whole lot, Chris. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elisha.